We used to think that everything in this world is for sale. Just have the right amount of zeros in your bank account, and any door will fling open before you. We love feeling like omnipotent masters of life, firmly believing that exclusive VIP access is merely a question of price. But that is a brazen lie. There exists a reality where your platinum card is just a piece of useless plastic. A reality where instead of polite doormen, you are met by snipers, deadly viruses, rivers of liquid mercury, and tribesmen with arrows. The world is literally riddled with blind spots where we will not be let in for any billions. Drop your illusions and get ready for the most forbidden tour of your life. We are heading to where humans are officially not welcome, from doomsday bunkers and Vatican secrets to infected islands. What are they hiding in a secret city in the Urals? Why does India imprison people for night walks? And why does the world elite pray to a 12-meter owl in the woods? Today, we will crack open the 33 most guarded spots on the planet, after which you will realize true power is what they hide from you. System hacked. Entering. Number 1. A dorm for the cold-blooded. Imagine the Brazilian tropics, the gentle whisper of Atlantic waves, the perfect snake island that looks like it belongs on a glossy magazine cover. You can already taste the pina colada on your lips and feel the warmth of golden sand under your feet. Anticipating a paradise getaway far from noisy civilization, the idyll collapses the moment you step ashore and realize the island is critically overpopulated by hostile biological units. 1 to 5 deadly island pit vipers for every square meter of land. The mechanics of the process are as follows. The Brazilian government simply placed a permanent ban on the location for all users. If you get bitten, the antidote will not arrive in time even by high-speed helicopter. Your health bar will hit 0 faster than the rescue screen loads. The biological system here works like a broken random number generator that for some reason infinitely spawns only reptiles, ignoring other species. Trying to survive there is like running a hardcore level without armor and health packs. Apparently, nature simply forgot to add an exit to main menu button on this patch of land. Number 2. Default aggression settings. Let us mentally transport ourselves to the warm waters of the Bay of Bengal, where North Sentinel Island hides in isolation. Thick emerald jungles, pristine white beaches, crystal clear water. We are used to the 21st century where any corner of the planet can be zoomed in on satellite maps, and an exclusive tour can be bought. The architects of reality clearly slacked off here and left the location in a deep Stone Age alpha version state. The local tribe of Aborigines functions on ancient, unpatched social software where the hospitality script was simply not written. Any approaching stranger is automatically recognized as a viral threat and met with a hail of poisoned arrows. The Indian government, tired of fighting these aggressive non-player characters, officially closed access to the island with a strict law. This is that unique case where the simulation developers admitted a system bug was a main feature and decided to simply surround it with an impenetrable fence. We desperately seek contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, while the universe laughs and does not even let us see our neighbors on the planet. Number 3. Hacking the prehistoric server. Imagine the picturesque southwest of France, the cool limestone vaults of Lascaux Cave smelling of damp earth and primeval mystery. A stunning gallery of animalistic masterpieces created 17,000 years ago spreads across the walls. We always thought the main threat to great art was crazy vandals or ruthless time armed with erosion. From a game design perspective, everything turned out much funnier and more tragic simultaneously. The entrance to this underground vault is sealed forever because enthusiastic tourists themselves turned out to be a walking biological hacker attack. Carbon dioxide and moisture from our heavy breathing began to trigger destructive chemical reactions, erasing priceless pixels from the walls in literally a matter of weeks. An ordinary human exhale worked like a malicious macro, methodically formatting the hard drive with ancestral memory. Authorities hastily closed the location with heavy doors, leaving the masterpieces in absolute darkness. Nature seems to subtly hint to save the pristine beauty of this world. Sometimes it is enough to simply stop breathing on it so actively. Number 4. The Doomsday Archiver, moving to the icy wasteland of Svalbard, where the wind howls as if someone forgot to turn off sound effects at maximum volume. There, embedded in the permafrost, stands a gray concrete wedge going deep into the mountain. We love building bunkers for billionaires in case of a zombie apocalypse, hoping to sit it out with a supply of canned food. The situation unfolds by the laws of total absurdity. The most protected place on Earth was created not for people, but for seeds. This is a global backup of the entire agrarian base of the planet. Neither tourists, nor journalists, nor even presidents of world powers are allowed inside this giant freezer. The human factor here is regarded as a critical vulnerability capable of introducing bacteria and violating the sterility of absolute zero. The vault works like the universe's external hard drive, which was disconnected from the network, so viruses would not eat the last backup copies of wheat and rice. We built civilization for millennia, and in the end, the most valuable file on our server turned out to be a handful of dried beans. Number 5. The Emperor's Mercury Antivirus. We head to central China to the foot of a green hill, under which hides the legendary tomb of the first emperor Qin Shi Huang. We are used to seeing in movies how brave archaeologists with whips dashingly crack open ancient sarcophagi, brushing dust off gold artifacts. Historical logs show an absolutely different picture. This tomb is blocked not by a mystical curse, but by harsh chemical physics. Opening the central mound is strictly forbidden. Firstly, scientists fear that contact with modern air will instantly destroy the fragile textures of ancient relics, as already happened with the paint on the terracotta warriors. Secondly, soil samples showed the presence of deadly rivers of liquid mercury flowing there by the design of a mad ancient engineer. This necropolis functions as a password-protected archive filled with toxic acid in case of unauthorized access. Developers of the past created ideal hardware protection, turning the ruler into a poisonous boss who cannot be approached without taking fatal damage. Number 6. Cyclical Temple Reboot. Welcome to Japan, where surrounded by centuries-old cypresses stands the Ise Shrine, the holiest and most energetically charged point of the land of the rising sun. We are used to admiring ancient European cathedrals that stand as indestructible stone blocks for centuries, accumulating the dust of eras. In this directory of space, the logic is completely different. The Japanese tear down their main shrine to the ground and rebuild it anew exactly every 20 years. The rebuild process happens with maniacal precision, without a single nail, according to blueprints that have not changed for millennia. Only high-ranking priests and members of the imperial family, who have innate superuser rights, are allowed behind the high wooden fence. For everyone else, it is just a beautiful fence behind which the magic of updating happens. The temple works like a browser cache that is regularly cleared so the gods can enjoy a fresh, bug-free interface. An ideal metaphor for how tradition can be simultaneously eternal and no older than a couple of decades. As if by the mouse click of a dissatisfied customer, the ocean suddenly boils, the skies fill with ash, and out of nowhere, as if by the mouse click of a dissatisfied god, a new piece of land appears, the island of Surtsey. It always seemed to us that all the earth was long ago divided, mapped, and sold for hotel construction. The office staff of the Celestial Chancellery decided to give biologists a grand gift, an absolutely empty polygon. Immediately after the lava cooled, the island was declared a closed zone of maximum secrecy level. Only a couple of scientists per year are allowed to step there, and only after thorough sterilization of clothes and shoes. Surtsey is an empty file with a creation extension, where nature slowly, bite by bite, uploads seeds via wind and bird droppings, testing the birth of a new ecosystem. The appearance of an ordinary tourist with an apple core in their pocket is equated to loading a cheater mod that will instantly break the purity of the experiment. Nature hung an under repair sign for the first time, and we are forced to obey. Number 8. Guardian's single-player mode, moving to hot and dusty Ethiopia to the ancient city of Axum, where behind a modest fence stands the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. Local legends claim that this small chapel houses the very biblical Ark of the Covenant, capable of incinerating enemy armies and destroying fortress walls. We are used to world relics being displayed under bulletproof glass in the Louvre, gathering millions of likes on social networks. If we open the developer console of this location, we will see the strictest entry mode in human history. Only one single Guardian monk has the right to enter the sanctuary territory. Having signed this lifelong contract, he loses the right to leave his post or communicate with the outside world until his very death. Neither patriarchs nor presidents nor armed mercenaries can break this rule. The monk acts as the system administrator of a server who locked himself in the server room from the inside and swallowed the key. The ideal protection for legendary loot. If no one has ever seen it, no one can prove the Arc texture is not loading. Number 9. Shadow Donation Gateway. Welcome to Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, a city of wide empty avenues and monumental concrete monuments. We are used to perceiving this country as a piece of plasticine frozen in time, completely cut off from the global economy and the internet. The firmware of this place works much more cunningly. Deep in the bowels of government buildings functions a top-secret organization known as Room 39. This is not just an office, it is a whole criminal holding on state support, dealing in everything from smuggling pure gold and counterfeiting to organizing mass hacker attacks on world banks. It is impossible to get there on a tourist visa or a diplomatic passport. This room works like a hidden cryptocurrency mining script installed on the computer of an unsuspecting user. While the country pretends to live by ideas of self-reliance, the elite clan farms real currency through the back doors of global capitalism, an ideal example of how the system writes viruses for itself to survive. Number 10. Nursery of Viral Textures. Imagine the picturesque coast of South Carolina in the United States. A light breeze, green thickets, and a cute name, Morgan Island. From afar, it looks like an ideal location for filming a family comedy, especially since about 4,000 funny rhesus macaques jump through the branches there. It seemed to us that meeting monkeys is always positive, bananas, and fun selfies. The planet's algorithms produced an absolutely monstrous result here. The island is strictly closed to visitors by federal law, and patrol boats circle the perimeter. The reason lies in a microscopic bug. This entire fuzzy population is a carrier of the deadly herpes B virus, which is transmitted to humans through the slightest bite or scratch. Biologists simply offloaded infected NPC models onto an isolated server to study them away from the mainland. This place is a live quarantine folder where the antivirus dumped infected files and forbade opening them. The monkeys live in paradise, unaware that they are walking biological weapons with fluffy tails. Number 11. Classified Ural Patch. We head to the harsh Russian expanses, to the foot of the Ural mountain Yamantau, dense forests, impassable snow, and the small closed city of Mezhgory, which for a long time did not exist on official maps at all. We are used to the idea that in the era of drones and geosatellites, hiding a massive construction project is impossible. Mother Nature's firewall paired with the military department worked flawlessly here. Inside the monolithic mountain hides a colossal underground complex, the true purpose of which is still covered in darkness and contradictory rumors. Some believe it is a reserve bunker for the government, others think it is a storage for nuclear arsenal. Getting inside the perimeter is unrealistic for a mere mortal. The zone is cordoned off, and any attempts by stalkers to get closer are stopped by harsh patrols. This mountain resembles an encrypted expansion pack downloaded to the country's hard drive, but only a few people with the highest clearance level know the password to the archive. We walk on the surface, unaware of what giant gears are turning beneath our feet. It seems at this moment the logic of reality has finally left the chat, but we are only warming up. If you think these are local bugs, wait. Next come the real errors in the universe's base code. Number 12. Desert Admin Panel. Let us move to the scorching red sands of Central Australia, where the sun melts even thoughts. Here lies the Pine Gap Base, a joint top-secret spy node of the United States and the Australian government. It looks like a scattering of giant white golf balls dropped by a giant in the middle of a Martian landscape. Sounds like the plot of cheap cyberpunk, yet the technical reality is shocking. This complex controls a network of spy satellites across all of Asia, listening to radio intercepts and tracking missile launches. The zone around the base jams any unauthorized mobile signals, and our random drone flying into the airspace will be instantly shot down by an automated defense system. This is the literal dispatch room of the Matrix, where stern moderators and epaulets sit at consoles and ban users for suspicious activity in another part of the globe. Getting in there is like trying to hack the Pentagon server using a wooden abacus. Number 13. Copyright on espionage. Welcome to the Chinese province of Jiangsu, home to one of the most paradoxical museums on the planet. Usually museums compete for tourist attention, print brochures, and launch ad campaigns to lure crowds with cameras. Let us look into the system settings of this specific institution. The Espionage Museum categorically and officially bans entry to any foreigners. Only citizens of China with confirming documents can cross this threshold. The authorities seriously fear that Western tourists Terrorists will study the displayed antique encryption machines, secret cameras and buttons, and recruitment schemes, and then copy these genius historical methods for their modern special services. This is pure developer paranoia, closing the source code of their program from competitors, forgetting that these lines of code are over half a century old. They will not let us in because, in the eyes of the local security system, any person with a different color passport is a potential Trojan horse coming to steal outdated algorithms. Number 14. Backup lobby for the elite, moving to the wooded hills of Virginia, where deep underground hides the Mount Weather government complex, managed by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We naively believe that in the event of a global catastrophe, sirens will wail for everyone, and rescue shuttles will await every law-abiding taxpayer. The bug report for this location states, salvation is a premium service unavailable in the free version of the game. This colossal bunker was created exclusively for the evacuation of top American political officials in case of nuclear war or a meteorite strike. It has its own power plants, hospitals, water purification systems, and even laws operating autonomously from the rest of the country. The airspace above the mountain is permanently closed to any flights, and ground security does not understand jokes. Mount Weather is a VIP waiting room on the server where administrators will transfer their avatars when the main map starts burning in radioactive fire. Ordinary users are left only to look at the sign saying server overloaded. Number 15. Unreadable source code. Welcome to the very heart of the Vatican, a state within a city where the air is soaked in incense and millennia of intrigue. We are used to thinking that a library is a place where you can come with a cup of coffee, take a dusty tome from the shelf, and settle comfortably in an armchair. The source code of reality here was rewritten for maximum secrecy level. The Vatican Secret Archives are 85 kilometers of shelves with documents covering 12 centuries of history, from trials of heretics to correspondence of kings. Entrance to the storage for ordinary people does not exist in nature. Even eminent scholars with world names must go through a complex verification procedure just to request a specific document from the catalog. They cannot wander between shelves. They are given exactly the paper they asked for in a separate reading room. This is a database architecture with read-only rights for one single line, where the search function is blocked by the Holy See. The Vatican keeps its logs under lock and key, proving that a monopoly on information is the best religion. Number 16. Island and airplane mode. We head to Hawaii, a tropical paradise for surfers and flower garland lovers. But among the scattering of tourist atolls hides the island of Niihau, a patch of land that seems stuck in a time loop. We are used to trusting the logic of capitalism. If you have millions, you can buy a tour anywhere, even to Earth's orbit. The scriptwriters of the global plot decided to break this pattern. The island was bought by one wealthy family back in 1864 and has since been closed to the outside world. The local residents, of whom there are a couple of hundred, live without internet, paved roads, running water, or electricity. They speak an ancient dialect and do not let journalists or businessmen offering fabulous money for the right to build a hotel onto their territory. Niihau is a local server that the owners forcibly switched to autonomous airplane mode, permanently disconnecting it from the global network. While we suffer from notifications on smartphones, they enjoy the perfect absence of ping. Number 17. Deleting local users. Let us move to the boundless expanses of the Indian Ocean, where the Diego Garcia Atoll is located. Palm trees, azure water, coral reefs, the ideal texture for a romantic movie. The engineering department of the universe made a brutal moral error here, rewriting the fate of an entire people for geopolitics. In the middle of the last century, British and American authorities simply took and forcibly evicted all indigenous inhabitants of the atoll, sending them to Mauritius to clear space for a top-secret military base. Now, heavy stealth bombers take off and nuclear submarines dock here. Getting to the island is impossible under any pretext unless you wear a military uniform with stars on your epaulets. This is a classic example of how a developer corporation deleted a base of peaceful non-player characters to free up RAM for storing heavy weapons. A former Paradise Corner turned into an impregnable stronghold, proving that in this world, guns are always more important than beautiful sunsets. Number 18. Mormon Cloud Storage. We head to the state of Utah, where Granite Mountain rises among harsh rocky landscapes. We are used to storing our family photos on hard drives or cloud services, getting annoyed when free space runs out. The local network of this place works by completely different standards of eternity, under hundreds of meters of solid granite, behind massive steel doors capable of withstanding a direct nuclear strike. The Mormon Church built a giant bunker. Inside, in conditions of ideal climate control, millions of rolls of microfilm with genealogical data of billions of people from all over the planet are stored. Entry is strictly closed to outsiders. Only chosen archivists scurry inside. Mormons collect the logs of humanity, digitizing records of births and deaths to baptize ancestors retroactively. This is literally a physical embodiment of a blockchain of souls carved in stone. They are keeping the save file of the human race in case our server crashes one day from a global cataclysm. Number 19. Recycle bin for deleted files. Imagine the gloomy waters of the Venetian Lagoon in Italy, where, away from gondolas and romantic bridges, the closed island of Poveglia rots. It seemed to us that Venice is one continuous carnival, masks, and expensive espresso. The user agreement here states, approaching this patch of land is forbidden under threat of arrest. In the Middle Ages, the island served as a quarantine zone for bubonic plague victims, and later a psychiatric hospital with an extremely dubious reputation was built there. Historians claim the local soil literally consists of 50% human ash. Poveglia is a system recycle bin where Italian society dumped its most terrible bugs and errors for centuries. The terminally ill, the insane, the doomed. Authorities blocked the location, hanging a quarantine sign on it because clearing this cache of pain is no longer possible. Abandoned buildings are overgrown with ivy, reminding us that even the most beautiful tourist postcards have their dark, invisible side of the moon. Number 20. Encrypted loot box. Moving to Atlanta, to the headquarters of the most famous carbonated empire in the world. We are used to buying this sweet fizz at any kiosk for pennies, not even thinking about what it consists of. The patch note for this update states that the original recipe of the drink is hidden with paranoia worthy of nuclear launch codes. The paper with the formula lies inside a huge high-tech safe in the corporation's museum. You can pay for a ticket, walk up to the safe, admire the red lighting and heavy steel shutters, but no one enters inside. Only 2 top managers of the company have access to the recipe, and they are even forbidden to fly on the same plane so as not to lose both access keys in case of a crash. This safe works like a paid loot box that cannot be opened for any donation. A genius marketing move, turning an ordinary list of ingredients from sugar, water, and extracts into the greatest secret artifact of modernity, guarded better than the gold reserves of some states. Number 21. Closed beta test for the elite. Welcome to the dense relic forests of California, where the so-called Bohemian Grove hides. We naively believe that the powerful of this world gather at boring economic forums in Davos to discuss interest rates and emission quotas in strict suits. Protective protocols work to hide a much stranger picture from us. Once a year, the richest bankers, media moguls, and former presidents converge on this forest camp to drink, urinate on trees, and perform theatrical rituals before a giant 12-meter stone owl statue for 2 weeks. Entrance is strictly by invitation, security is armed to the teeth, and journalists are caught and expelled with shame. This is a private server for elite players where they can take off the masks of decent NPCs and roleplay absurd druids, burning a symbolic effigy of care. While we argue about politics in the comments, they dance in circles around a stone bird together, proving that the more money a person has, the stranger their user mods are. Number 22. Broken geometry of poison. Moving to the ancient city of Hierapolis on the territory of modern Turkey. Among the ruins of ancient amphitheaters and thermal springs hides an inconspicuous grotto known as Pluto's Gate. It seemed to us that ancient myths about gates to the underworld of Hades were just beautiful fairy tales to scare naughty children. Synchronization with the server was interrupted because geology confirmed the mysticism with frightening accuracy. Tourists are categorically forbidden to descend to these gates because carbon dioxide continuously seeps from underground. The concentration of toxic vapor is such that any bird or small animal that accidentally runs into the affected zone drops dead in seconds. In ancient times, priests used this texture bug to demonstrate miracles. Holding their breath, they led dead bulls out of there, proving their power over death. Nature created an invisible zone with permanent poison damage over an area, and the modern administration wisely fenced this broken hitbox with an iron grate. At this stage, the reality scriptwriters apparently went for a long lunch and entrusted the plot writing to a nervous intern. Can you smell that rising scent of ozone? That is the smell of the common sense processor melting. Number 23. Farm of biological bugs. We head to the picturesque coast near New York, where Plum Island looms away from prying eyes. It looks like a cute port town, but the server administrators introduced the strictest access rules. The island hosts a federal center for studying the most dangerous animal diseases. This is literally a testing ground where scientists in top-level protection suits play with foot and mouth disease viruses, African swine fever, and other microscopic monsters. Conspiracy theorists still whisper that it was from the laboratories of Plum Island that a tick causing the Lyme disease epidemic once accidentally leaked. Getting onto this patch of land without a biothreat level clearance is impossible. The place works as an incubator for malicious software, where biological hackers try to understand the virus code while these viruses try to devour them. An ideal place to start a zombie apocalypse scenario, carefully fenced with barbed wire. Number 24. Guild with a gender block. Welcome to stiff London, to St. James's Street, where behind an inconspicuous facade hides White's Club, the oldest and most elite gentlemen's establishment in the world. We are used to the idea that in the era of inclusivity and tolerance, any closed doors can be kicked open with a discrimination lawsuit. The hardware of reality here failed to withstand the collision with British conservatism. Entry for women into this club is forbidden, categorically, uncompromisingly, and forever. An exception in centuries-old history was made exactly once, for Queen Elizabeth II in 1991, and even then as a grand condescension. Inside, lords, princes, and billionaires read newspapers, drink scotch, and place bets on which raindrop will roll down the glass faster. This is literally a closed chat for system moderators where the registration algorithm is stuck in the 18th century and flatly refuses to update social justice drivers. A stronghold of snobbery elevated to the rank of high art. Number 25. Naked interface of faith. Moving to Japan, to the shores of the sacred Shinto island of Okinoshima. We are used to religious shrines requiring a certain dress code. Cover shoulders, wear a headscarf, remove shoes when entering a mosque. If we check the error logs of this island, it turns out local gods prefer maximum minimalism. Only men can step on this land, and only after they strip completely naked and undergo a harsh ritual of icy washing in the ocean waves. Women are not allowed on the island, and those 200 lucky ones permitted to sail there once a year have no right to take even a single blade of grass or talk about what they saw there. This is a unique server where you can log in only by dropping absolutely all your inventory and armor. Shinto spirits demand that a basic avatar in factory settings stands before them, not a modern user hung with gadgets. Number 26. Analog Firewall. Welcome to cloudy London, to the holy of holies of the British economy, the gold reserve vaults of the Bank of England. We are used to movies about perfect heists, where hackers crack electronic locks using retina scanners, lasers, and clever flash drives. The security system developers simply turned off the physics of modern technology to penetrate this underground labyrinth where ingots worth hundreds of billions of pounds sterling are stored. Passing biometric control or knowing a PIN code is not enough. You will have to insert a real physical key almost 1 meter long into the keyhole. The design of this giant metal lever has not changed for over 100 years. The lock is not connected to the internet. It cannot be hacked remotely. It gives no system errors over the network. This is a genius return to analog hardware. While the whole world goes crazy over digital security, the British entrusted their gold to a piece of iron the size of a crusader's sword. Number 27. Polygon of critical errors. We head to Central Australia, to the Woomera prohibited area. We are used to measuring parks and ranges in square kilometers, naively believing that any military base is just a couple of hangars and a runway. Reality Support Service would answer you with hysterical laughter. The size of this test range is comparable to the area of all England. This is a colossal dead zone reserved by the military for testing the most destructive weapons on the planet, from top secret hypersonic missiles to next generation drones. In the past, nuclear charges were detonated there, leaving radioactive craters behind. Any tourist wandering there in a jeep risks not only running into a patrol, but also catching an experimental projectile flying at several Machs on their head. Woomera is a grand sandbox of destruction, a giant empty file where developers dump all their most explosive and unstable mods just to watch pixels fly apart beautifully. Number 28, Night Server Reset, moving to mystical India, to the state of Rajasthan, where the ruins of Pangar Fort rise against the backdrop of sun-scorched hills. It seemed to us that ghosts and curses were just a marketing tool to sell tickets to gullible paranormal fans. System requirements turned out to be so specific here that the state recognized mysticism at the legislative level. Pangar Fort is the only place in the world closed by authorities at night exclusively due to the threat of ghost attacks. There is a strict law. Being on the territory of ruins after sunset and before sunrise is a criminal offense. Guards lock the gates and move far away. Local legend says an ancient sorcerer's curse kills anyone who dares to stay in the dark. From a technical point of view, the Indian government simply decided not to risk it and set up an automatic night shutdown of the location. The server reboots, mobs in the form of evil spirits go on the hunt, and developers honestly hung a warning: entry during dark hours leads to account deletion. Number 29, Penguin Quarantine. We head to the roaring 40s latitudes of the Indian Ocean, to the harsh and icy Heard Island. Here rises the active volcano Mawson Peak, spewing lava right into leaden, icy waves. We are used to thinking that volcanoes and glaciers are extreme tourist attractions for mountaineers with tight wallets. The database gives a critical access error here. Landing people on this island is strictly forbidden by Australian law for the sake of penguins. An absolutely isolated, unique ecosystem has formed on the island, which has never known a human presence. Scientists fear that even microscopic fungal spores or weed seeds stuck to a polar explorer's boot sole could trigger an irreversible chain reaction and destroy this fragile balance. Heard Island is a sterile flash drive of nature sealed in vacuum packaging. Humanity proudly declares the conquest of nature, but here we received a harsh denial of authorization from a colony of birds in tuxedos. Number 30. Archived 3D drawings. We return to France again, this time to the Chauvet Cave. This place surpasses Lascaux in the scale of historical sensation. Inside are astounding rock drawings of horses and lions 36,000 years old, executed using primitive animation and shadows. The last update blocked this masterpiece from us forever. Given the sad experience of other caves, scientists did not wait for tourists to breathe carbon dioxide there. Chauvet Cave was sealed with a giant hermetic armored door, resembling the entrance to a nuclear bunker. Only a few researchers per year are allowed inside, and they are required to wear airtight bioprotection suits as if exploring the surface of Mars, not their own planet. For mere mortals, authorities built an exact concrete copy of the cave nearby for hundreds of millions of euros. The original textures of antiquity were put in a protected archive, and we were left with a high quality but still fake render. Number 31. Hardware armor against meteorites. Moving to the state of Colorado, United States, to the Cheyenne Mountain Massif. We are used to watching Hollywood blockbusters where soldiers in green sweaters sit behind radar screens and save the world from threats flying from space. Defense Department engineers embodied this movie cliche in granite with maniacal meticulousness. Deep under the rocks, at a depth of 600 meters, lies the underground complex of the Aerospace Defense Command. Cyclopean 25-ton doors block the entrance. The complex is mounted on giant steel springs to dampen vibrations. Officially, it is stated that this bunker is capable of surviving a direct meteorite hit or a powerful nuclear explosion right above the mountain. This is the ideal iron firewall of the American Army, where not a single curious onlooker will be allowed. While we fear Wi-Fi disconnection, the military sits in their stone womb, ready to continue playing global strategy even after the screen of our world goes completely black. Number 32. Ladder with permadeath. We head to the jungles of Mexico, to the foot of the legendary pyramid of Kukulkan in the ancient Mayan city of Chichen Itza. For a long time, this place was a magnet for esoteric lovers who clambered up steep stone steps to meet the dawn at the summit and recharge with cosmic energy. Architects of the local law decided to harshly fix this climbing bug. Since the year 2006, climbing the pyramid has been strictly forbidden under threat of immediate arrest and giant fines. There are two reasons. Firstly, crowds of tourists physically trampled ancient steps into dust, destroying heritage faster than the jungle. Secondly, the steps are so narrow and steep that onlookers carried away by selfies regularly fell down, taking critical damage incompatible with life. Authorities simply blocked the fast travel function to the upper tier of the pyramid, leaving us only the option to walk in circles at the bottom. Want to be closer to the gods? Buy a magnet. Breaking gravity is no longer permitted. Number 33, Crown Sleep Mode. We end our expedition in the heart of monarchical Britain at the majestic Buckingham Palace in London. We know that in certain months of the year, the palace opens its luxurious state rooms for tours, allowing ordinary people to touch velvet and gold. Security algorithms here hide one tiny but absolutely impregnable directory, the so-called Room 39, not to be confused with the Korean one. These are the private chambers and bedroom of the British monarch. During any open tours, this corridor is blocked off with such paranoia as if a briefcase with a red button is stored there. This zone is guarded more strictly than the treasury with crowns in the tower. You can look at thrones, picture galleries, and stables, but the sovereign's sleeping place is hidden behind an impenetrable wall of protocol. The monarch may be a public figure, but their personal hibernation mode is not subject to inspection for any tips to the guide. This is a private zone where the crown is put on night charge. We slowly close the heavy hermetic doors of our system failure archive. The server lights fade, coolers slow down, and the global simulation returns to its familiar, illusorily free rhythm. We have verified that this planet is full of hidden directories and banned locations where entry is closed forever to ordinary users, no matter how much gold currency is in their inventory. The philosophy of this quest is simple and ruthless. We sincerely imagine ourselves as full masters of the system, but in reality, we do not even have basic administrator rights in our own home, and this is perhaps the most elegant and cruel joke of the great engineer. But our tour of closed sectors will be catastrophically incomplete without your personal participation. Go down to the comments, like into an open data entry terminal, and write your own bug report. What classified or simply absurd place on this planet did we forget to hack? Write fact number 34, and let the algorithms of this video go crazy from our collective curiosity. Until new system failures, stay in touch and never forget to update your common sense drivers on time.